Work here before. So when this actually was Canada Post. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. So when I used to work here, it was Maize then, and it's apparently just Maize now, right? But it's I got to see, obviously having worked here when I was in my early 20s, I used to serve in the regiment that's on Beatty Street there. And then when I got into politics, my Vancouver office is actually just in the library building across the street as well. So I got to see the whole building, the modernization of it. And just as a fun fact, have you guys ever heard about the tunnels underneath? Can I talk about the tunnels? Is this classified? It's really not. There you go, secrets, there we go. Well, you guys are in the tech world, you could probably hack this system anyway, so. So tunnels and stuff, but also when I became Minister of Defense, I also heard that this building, when it was built way back, it was actually built purposely to be kind of like a bunker system, right? Because it was very well constructed, and just as some of the other buildings as well. Then I recalled how when I used to work here with Canada Post, that you can drive semi-trailers on different floors, right? I mean, that's how solid this building actually was. And as you know, I'm wearing my my Canadian colors today. And you guys can guess why, right? So anybody not watching the news, okay? Anybody not on social media these days? If you are, please tell me how I can disconnect. I need some peace of mind as well. But no, you know what? It's hard not to talk about the tariffs. And I think the Prime Minister in his opening remarks said it perfectly. When it comes to Canada-U.S. relationships, when I first became Minister of National Defense way back, and had your first phone call is usually with the U.S. And my thing, what I've always said is, as a former soldier, and I was actually attached to a U.S. division in my final deployment to Afghanistan with 10th Mountain Division. And I said, listen, this is how I see a relationship. I see a relationship based on what I saw on the ground with our soldiers, shoulder to shoulder. We've been in from World War I, World War II, other conflicts together. That's how I see a relationship. And so that's what the Prime Minister was talking about, your closest friend, your closest ally, right? And then this is how you treat your closest friend, putting these tariffs on, while at the same time you're cozying up to brutal dictators that have invaded another country and killing their people, right? That's how we kind of see this, and why it's very shocking, and why we're taking the reaction that we are with the counter tariffs. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, through you and all other Canadians. I think people underestimate who we are as Canadians. Yes, we're polite. We say sorry a lot, right, because we're polite. But at the same time, we don't want to be messed with, right? We are very proud of who we are. And this is, I think, has been a rallying cry for all of us to be able to come together. And we will get through this. Just like we've done it before during the pandemic, and this is just another example how we can. And in this, now moving forward to Web Summit, and what you guys are trying to accomplish, I think is a perfect example of what we need to do. We need to come together. We need to look at creating new opportunities, right? New investments. So I also now I'm minister responsible for Pacific Canada. Those you don't know, Pacific Economic Development Agency Canada, Regional Development Agency for BC, right? And there's other ones for across the country, where I make decisions based on investments in companies, nonprofit organizations for economic growth of this province, right? And I see amazing ideas come out. So when I heard about way back then it was Collision, wanted to come to Vancouver, I was quite excited. But the thing is, there's a little problem. You guys are still wanted to do it in Toronto. The deal wasn't kind of big, right? It was still working on Toronto.
10 times better.
Hallelujah to that. But the thing at the same time, as a minister for the country, I couldn't just be too excited to pull it from Toronto. But I was always rooting for it, and I'm glad that you guys came to your senses and chose Vancouver. Okay, and that's why we're also very proud to make the investments that we did to do this, because I can tell you, there in Vancouver and the entire country, right? Just amazing opportunities, right? And the thing is, one of the things I want to stress on you is government will be there to support. We want companies to grow, set up shop, grow, but we don't want them just bought out and go somewhere else. We want them to go globally, right? We want you to expand. We want to make sure, though, at the same time, you create those opportunities here. And who wouldn't want to set up a family here? We have these amazing, I think, opportunities here. So I just want to stress to you, first of all, is the importance of the collaboration. When I was Minister of Defense way back in 2015, in 2017 we launched our defense policy, I realized there was such amazing innovation that we had to tap into in our country. And so we created a program called Ideas. Has anybody heard of DARPA? Right? You guys heard of DARPA, right? So I heard about DARPA and it got this great, amazing reputation. Well, some of the U.S. generals are not very fond of DARPA, and I asked them why. So I looked at what some of their concerns were. And what I did was, so when we created our program, we took some of their concerns and we flipped it around. And why am I saying this? I'm just giving you one example of what we started this during my first portfolio, right? Of how we can access the innovation of our nation. So it's $1.6 billion in our defense policy that was locked in for 20 years for every time we have a defense problem, which we then push out to Canadians. It doesn't go inside defense, goes outside, right? If you have a proposal to solve that idea, we'll look at it, right? Not only look at it, then gets to proof of concept. You'll get selected for proof of concept, and then you can go to the next level. If it works, or proof of concept, we can potentially go to prototype, right? You get funding for that. At the end of it, what we're trying to do is take your ideas and commercialize so you can have your company, we get the product, right? That's just one small example, right? I said, the other department, where it has where is the innovation portfolio? There's a lot of opportunities within our government, within our provinces. Why am I sharing this with you? So as you take throughout the day, and then when you have the actual summit taking place in a few months, when you're collaborating, right? You have a nation that wants to work with you. And the most recent what's happening with the U.S., right? You have every level of government was listening. If you have an idea, right? You want to grow, you want to expand, there's a regulation in the way, there's an immigration issue in the way, you have our attention. I mean, we were already making changes as is already, but I can assure you, this has elevated things in a significant way, right? For example, interprovincial trade barriers, we're looking at that and we're gonna be tearing those down, right? Opportunities for you exist. Sometimes, here's one thing I wanna stress to you, as a little bit of a technology geek myself, right? One of the things, as you looking at your own product and selling your ideas, sometimes you can't fully appreciate what you actually have. Sometimes your solution over here can on a small scale, make a minor adjustment, can have a massive solution to somebody's problem. But the problem is you haven't connected yet, and that's what Web Summit does, connects people. And I can tell you, I'll give you one example. When I visited Microsoft to their HoloLens technology, their augmented reality, within a week, I had a meeting set up for our special forces here, right? And they've done some amazing work. And I can go through many of the companies, many different examples. What I'm trying to stress to you, right? As much as you're excited about your ideas, right? You need to get excited even more. You have opportunities in front of you. Make sure you have those connections. You have a government that not only has programs that are willing to provide support. Pacific End is just a small example of that. We have far greater opportunities. Then the other piece of it, we have in Canada probably the most free trade agreements with the majority of the world right now. And no other nation has more free trade agreements than Canada right now. Take advantage of those opportunities, right? And we are here to help. We want to see you grow. And selfishly, we want to see you succeed here in not only here in British Columbia, but in Canada as well, okay? I'm really excited. I'm true transparency. I'm not gonna be running, seeking re-election, okay? But I can assure you, I will be very interested to see how successful this Web Summit is, and I will do whatever I can to always support and advertise the amazing work that's going to be done here, okay? So go out, innovate, succeed, grow, and go Canada, go. Thanks, everybody.